What we have right now is an endgame that looks very interesting. It's a study, but still, the endgame is just amazing because Black's got 4 pawns versus 3 pieces. Now, we know that 3 pieces are extraordinary. They're even sometimes stronger than the queen. And yet, if they have to fight a queen, I mean, it'll be so easy to coordinate them together. The real issue is how to stop Black from playing King D1 and C1 pawn to a queen. Indeed, if Black gets to do that, he'll have the chance to win the game. So, do you think there is anything White can do to stop that from happening? Or the game is already over? What would you say about this? The incredible move of knight to b4 actually saves the day. This move doesn't just help White to hold that pawn, but in reality we see that if Black takes that knight, White's going to be able to play knight takes d4, and we realize that once White takes that pawn and collects the other, b5 will easily fall, and White should be able to checkmate with knight and bishop. Essentially, that move just deals with the main problem, the passed pawns, d4, and most importantly, c2. The truth is that Black's got to do c4 with the check, but then if he does it, White will just retreat down to a3, and we get to see that moving with something like king to d1 wouldn't help as much, as White's able to play knight takes to c2, knight takes to d4, and well, of course, once again b5 falls, and White has plenty of different ways in stopping these pawns, like bishop b1, c3, bishop c2, and next move the king goes around, and b5 plus c3 will fall. Now, of course, this is not everything, as after the move of knight b4, and Black can actually play c4 here and then d3. He may try to connect his pawns and make it more difficult for us to capture them. And yet, there is a chance to find a combination between these pieces. Again, White's bishop on a2 really doesn't do any job, so he can sacrifice it for that pawn, and then use the a2 as a square to give a check with his knight. Now that looks a little scary continuation, because we know that checkmate is not possible with 2 knights, but that's only for the positions in which there are no pawns on the board. Now we're going to use the black pawns to actually block the path of his own king. And we realize that in case of king b1, there is knight d2 check, king a1, knight c1, and he's in a Zugzwang position, so he has nothing else to do but push his pawn, which helps us to deliver the checkmate. It's incredible because after the check, even if he goes down to d1, which looks more sensible, the 2 knights are so powerful, so they take away the rest of the black king squares. And that ultimately makes it impossible for him to do anything but push those pawns, and even queen by playing d1, just in time for us to deliver the checkmate with the knight. What a brilliant position, really. You can see the value of the piece when they're connected. So it really doesn't mean so much what the pieces are. As long as they're well connected and they can interact with each other, they can do miracles, just like this one.